Here we are, Garcia versus Davis. We'll be coming on here in a few hours. I'm glad the fight's happened. Let me start with saying that. I applaud these two. In today's world of boxing, we have a lot of fights that the fans want that don't get made. And this one got made. It got made quick. Both guys wanted it, and it happened. I like that. I like it when two fighters could take control of their career, their destiny, put everybody else aside, and make the fight happen. That is to be applauded. Okay, that needs to happen more in this game. We have managers, promoters, matchmakers, advisors. Everybody's got a name or title for what they think their job is. I'm not a fan of the middleman. I don't like middlemen. Middlemen hold things up, and middlemen they're full of nonsense for the most part. Let me just be honest about that. I've talked and dealt with a lot of middlemen throughout my short career. Even when I was as an amateur, listening to guys talk about what they think they can do. It's all smoke. They're just blowing smoke for the most part, and it's exhausting listening to it once you know what you're dealing with. So yeah, a lot of middlemen need to be at the unemployment office in boxing. Let me start by saying that. These guys made the fight happen. I applaud it. I'm glad it happened. And I'm excited for the show. They're going to make a lot of money tonight. Good for both of them. And they deserve it. Now, that being said, we got to be honest about the matchup here. I think everybody knows that it is a mismatch. Oscar De La Hoya included. Oscar didn't want Ryan to take the fight. Now, advisors like that, guys giving you advice, especially if they're your promoter, that's good advice. That's good. That's a good guy to listen to. Bernard Hopkins is a good guy to listen to, even though Bernard's blowing all kinds of smoke for this fight. And Bernard's kind of become a good BSer in the game because he just knows how to do it. He's had so many interviews for so many elite, mega fights that he knows what to say and when to say and how to let you hear what you need to hear without making himself look too bad and and having you continue to tune in. He's a master at it. If you interview him, you're not going to get what you want to hear. You're going to get what he wants you to hear, and most fans are going to be sold on it. But he's still a good guy to listen to because he knows the game. He understands the ins and outs. Now, is he going to tell you the whole truth all the time? No, he's not, because he's a promoter and he's selling his guy. Ryan is the underdog in this fight. The chances of him winning tonight are not very high. Let me be honest. Most likely, Tank Garcia is going to score a knockout mid to late rounds. Once the fight settles down into a consistent pace and they're playing the chess match, picking and choosing, picking their shots and setting up their attacks. Tank is better. Tank is better at that at this point than Ryan is. He's better at conserving energy. He's better at his distance. He's much better at his distance. He's not the rangier guy, but he will be because he knows how to control the range. He knows how to pull better than Ryan. He knows how to walk his opponent down better than Ryan. He knows how to stand in the pocket and not take shots. And all those skills are going to come into play. Ryan's good. He's a good fight. Now, I do think that this fight a couple years from now, if Ryan were to get the right opponents and the right work in the gym and all those things, I think this fight could be much more competitive if they do it down the road. But right now, I don't think Ryan's gonna. I don't think for 12 rounds he's gonna be able to stay in there with Tank at this point. Now, if he were to grow as a fighter and develop, And it's the little things. It's the small things he has to. It's the small fixes that are going to make a big difference. It's the falling in on your attack. It's thinking you can get closer to your opponent than you can. You know what I mean? As far as when you're walking him down and trying to hit him with a power shot, is getting over aggressive and thinking that you're in more control than you really are. You know, little things like that. Following in on your shots and giving your opponent a chance to pick you off or counter you. And Tank's a master at that. Especially as a southpaw, he's going to get hit with shots that he's not used to seeing, and they're gonna take a toll. It will eventually take a toll. Now, early in the fight, Garcia may look good. Garcia may come out and win the first few rounds if he can get his jab going. He has to use his jab tonight. Even if he uses his jab, he probably still loses in the long run. But he should have took notes from the Raleigh-Romero fight, where Romero put some rounds in the bank early on because he kept the kid at bay with a good jab. He didn't necessarily land the jab hard every time, but he controlled him with it. If you initiate that control with the jab, you're going to win rounds because you're going to shut down your opponent's offense. That's what Garcia has to do. He has to be consistent. He can't come in just looking to land the left hook. It's not just about the left hook tonight. It's going to be about everything. And yeah, Tank kind of called it, saying that, he's the more complete fighter, and he really is. So that's really what is going to be the difference. Now, I could be wrong, but I'm probably not. I'm probably not wrong. Tank is probably going to stop him at some point between rounds 7 and 12. I don't know when, but he sets a pace that he can maintain. And he learns to do that in the Mayweather gym. That's one thing that I got to give credit to these Mayweather fighters. They learn to pace themselves for the long haul, and they do that in the gym. They have the top-level sparring. They have the top-level trainers, and they set the environment for guys to develop that durability. The durability to go long rounds, to endure pressure, to go through all the difficulties of a fight, and to be standing strong rounds later, 30, 40 minutes later. So Tank is bringing that into the game. Okay, and because of the way he trains, and I've seen some of the sparring sessions and how he works. Okay, the guy works on the things that he's not good at, or the things that are going to put him in trouble come fight night. He goes to the ropes on purpose and escapes. He puts himself in a corner so that his opponents got him backing up, got him in the corner. And he slips and escapes, gets out. All right? He doesn't try to knock every sparring partner out. He works on the things that are going to come fight time, and he gets good at it. He really develops the skill of all the things that could go wrong, all the different positions or instances that are going to come about in the fight that are going to give him trouble. And he works out of them. You don't see a lot of guys doing that. I see a lot of big punchers blowing out sparring partners and just knocking guys out. Like Mike Tyson used to try to knock out all his sparring partners. That looks good and everything, but what is that doing for a fight night? How is that preparing you to fight Buster Douglas or Evander Holyfield? You know what I mean? I say those names just to give an example. But how is that preparing you for what you're going to face? Knocking out guys that aren't as good as you is not going to get you ready for what you got coming. And I think Davis understands that. So he trains with that in mind and puts himself in the position to where... Oh, my dog keeps barking. Hey, be quiet. But yeah, I think the training is going to be a big part of it. I think that all that's going to come into play. Stop it. But we'll see. I could be wrong. And that's what's so great about mega fights like this. I'm glad they made the fight. I don't think Garcia's ready. Oscar De La Hoya even didn't want him to take the fight because Oscar knows. Oscar knows what he's up against. He understands the levels in development that are at play here. And I think for the most part, he realizes what could and probably will happen tonight. Ryan didn't care. Ryan wanted to make the fight. Hats off to him. That's what we need in boxing. But in the process somewhere, you got to have somebody in your camp. And I don't like all these middlemen. There's too many guys that don't know anything about boxing that are in, important spots, important roles that make decisions. Like Leonard Ellerby. Who is that guy? Okay, that guy's never been in a ring. He doesn't know what the hell he's doing or talking about. All he knows is what somebody told him. Let's be real here. Okay, that guy, whatever. But he's in the mix. You got guys like that jumping in the mix, and they're all over the place. There's guys like that are a dime a dozen. He just happened to be the middleman for Floyd Mayweather and rode his coattail to the top. So now he's rich and he's somebody important in the game. That guy don't know what he's doing. That guy doesn't know boxing, but he's with the right guy tonight. Davis is probably going to win. Spectacular fashion. So, it is what it is. I don't see boxing getting rid of these middlemen, but, a lot of fighters would be better off without them, in my opinion. Anyway, we'll see what happens. I'm looking forward to it. I'm excited for the show, man. The show's coming up. So tune in, and I hope everybody enjoys the fight, and I'll probably try and give a take after the fight's over. Break it down a little bit, but I'm looking for Davis to, come in, feel him out the first few rounds, maybe give away a few rounds, but, round 4 or 5, he'll start dialing in and countering the kid, picking him off, and eventually walking him down to stop him at some point between 7 and 12, I would guess. But we'll see what happens. Garcia's got to find a pace. He can't burn a lot of energy because he's going to need that energy in the later rounds. So he needs to come out and win rounds and do it without burning himself out. Not an easy thing to do because Tank's going to put the pressure on and make him work. We'll see what happens. I'm excited. This is a good fight. This is a good fight to be made. I wish boxing would take notes and get it done. Fighters, call each other. Quit calling your managers. Call each other. Make a deal. Make the fight happen. Take notes. The reason this fight got made is because both guys wanted it to happen. Put the middlemen aside. And specifically, I'm talking to guys like Errol Spence, Terrence Crawford, guys like that just, that whole thing was a mess. Anyway, I hope that fight gets made too, but who knows. Anyway, let's see what happens. Good luck. Godspeed. I'll see you after the fight.